Okay, hi and welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to you, Veronica, and welcome to all of you who are joining us tonight.
Absolutely.
For
Hello,
the Inspiring Vision series. This is this month's segment with my special visionista guest, Veronica H. Moore. Tonight we're trying something new, or I'm trying something new.
Yeah.
Typically, I stream live on Facebook for these at Visionistas by Design. And when we talked about getting together and doing our segment, Veronica said, do both at the same time. So tonight we are streaming live on two different devices from on Instagram and Facebook. So
Follow us.
Yes, follow us. So yeah, first let's talk about where you can find us on social media. So
Absolutely. So hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name is Veronica Moore, as you know from the description that Visionistas by Design has put up on both platforms, but you can find me on Facebook. My business page, you can see it on my shirt, is Alma and Eva. You can also reach me at Veronica H. Moore, Passion and Purpose Entrepreneur. And you can find me on Instagram, Alma and Eva, at Alma and Eva on Instagram. And then if you want to see my personal life, which some people are interested in, you can also follow me as I am Veronica Moore on Instagram.
Thank you.
Yeah,
yes. So I'm going to talk a little bit first about how we met, reconnected. So several years ago, we crossed paths originally when we were both working at an institution of higher education, and reconnected last year, about a year ago.
Yeah, it was November.
The first weekend in November. Yeah, so about in a week we'll have our reconnection anniversary. And it was at Camp Connect with the Wisdom Coalition with Nancy Werteen and Kim Howie.
Yes, two amazing women.
Yes.
By the way.
Yes.
Follow them if you're not following.
Yes, follow the Wisdom Coalition. So I was super excited to be able to attend that event. I had originally not been able to go because I had a family obligation that, because of the weather, got canceled. And when I saw Veronica, I was like, I know her. And of course, it was called Camp Connect. So the the whole mission of that day was connecting. And it's been really fun to see you and work with you. Yeah. Well, this is our first actual thing we're doing together.
For now. Yep.
For now, right. But we have some upcoming, an upcoming event that we'll talk about in a little bit later too. So super excited. Thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me.
So we're gonna just jump right in and get to know Veronica. That is the idea for tonight, is to what really inspires me about you is we have a shared passion for empowerment and bringing awareness and inspiration to people, and specifically to women, but to people in general. So I would love for you to just talk a little bit about your, how your vision for Alma and Eva, for your Passion Persists, the Women's Empowerment Summit that you've had came to fruition.
Absolutely. So some of you may follow me and some of you may not, but Alma and Eva is something that's very near and dear to my heart. It is my gift to the world, and it was gifted to me through divine intervention. I'm a very spiritual person, and I believe in faith connection. And so when I was pregnant with my daughter, I was in the shower.
It's funny how divine intervention hits you when you're pregnant.
when you're not like ready for it, or just like, not just walking down the street. Right. So I was in the shower and I was praying, and I said, God, I want you to reveal to me what it is that you want me to do. I need to know as clear as day, what is my purpose work? Because I have been working in higher education for at that time over 10 years. And I knew that I was really passionate about making sure the students had the resources that they needed. I was really passionate about making sure that they had the opportunities and they built the skills that were necessary for them to be successful individuals in society. And so I knew that that is what made me tick. But the thing that was missing was that kind of clear cut, you have that as your passion work, right? You're very passionate about that. But how do you turn that into purposeful work that you know without a doubt in your mind that you're supposed to be doing? And so I had to think back about what were the things that really made me tick. And when I did, I started to think about the fact that I was always placed among women, empowering women. Even when I was working in higher education and advising students, the ones that really kind of gravitated towards me and I gravitated towards them were of young college women.
Okay.
And then I started to see myself in spaces with professional women and younger professional women who were just entering the field, and I found myself in mentoring relationships and opportunities with these women. And so when I prayed this prayer, I got a vision of me standing in front of thousands of women. There were no words. There was just that clear-cut vision.
Wow,
and for me, yes, it's amazing. But for me, initially, it scared me because I am a behind-the-scenes type of person. I like to orchestrate things to happen. And for me, that vision that I prayed for, it's clear as day, right? That's what I said, and it was given to me, was too scary. So I played myself small, and I started Alma and Eva as a cute little accessory line with handmade, well, not really handmade, but curated quotes on greeting cards and wall art. And some of, my customers still have those wall art pieces. And
that's awesome.
And that's amazing, but it was too small. God gave me a big vision, a huge vision. Thousands.
Even more than that.
And he's like, that's cute, but that's not what I told you to do. So how about you be obedient? So I said, okay. I still had Alma and Eve at that point. And when I thought about the name, I said, okay, I wanted to mean something for my family. And my mother always talked to me about leaving a legacy. And I didn't know what that meant until I was pregnant with my child. And I was like, there was this intense urgency, right? I have to do something. I have to make sure that she's great and that she has something to fall back on and that she has something to build from. And the names Alma and Eva came to me. And Alma is my maternal grandmother's name, and Eva is my paternal grandmother's name.
I love that. I love that so much.
When I researched it, so for me, I was like, well, phonetically, A comes before E. So that makes sense, Alma and Eva. But I'm a nerd by heart, and I like to research things and find out meaning behind things. And when I looked up the words separately, Alma means to nourish, and Eva means to give life. So what I was doing in that very moment of being pregnant with my child, the vision, the name, everything of Alma and Eva was given to me. And so I'm blessed. I feel fortunate to be able to have this as a gift to me, but also to be able to pour out into the world. And I know that that sounds very big, but I'm very, very serious and passionate about that impact of women worldwide. And so after I thought about recreating that cute little greeting card line. So I always wanted to have something here in the Lehigh Valley that was specifically purposed for women to pursue their passions, help them discover what their purpose is, and in some instances, how do you marry the two? And how do you be very intentional about pursuing those things? And there was nothing here. So I got tired of waiting. And in 2018, I created the Passion and Purpose in Action Women's Empowerment Summit. And in 2020, we'll be celebrating our 3rd annual one. And I'm really excited. Liz is going to be a speaker. So it's going to be really powerful. And in that moment of this year, prior to 2019, I put on the 2018 and 19 version of the summit by myself, right? And so we have to understand what our limitations are. We have to understand where our growth points are. And when I stood in front of the women at the 2019 Passion and Purpose in Action Women's Empowerment Summit, the very vision or the path that I prayed for when I was pregnant with Hunter, I looked out into the audience and it was the exact vision that I was given when I prayed for God to reveal to me my purpose.
I love that.
And so it was scary, but it was confirming that this is the work that you're supposed to be doing, Veronica. And so you cannot run away from it now, because you're looking in the audience and you're seeing that women's lives are being changed.
Yes.
And they came
Yes.
to this event on faith, and now we're delivering this to them. You can't go back from here.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's where we are, folks.
I love it.
Almond and Eva, where it came from and kind of where we're going with the Passion and Purpose in Action Summit.
And I want to come back to the summit, because I attended.
Yes.
This is my first year this past summer attending, and before I get there, I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping here. So we really love for this to be as interactive as possible.
Absolutely.
So we're going to be kind of checking in on our devices to see comments or questions. We will not mention you by name if you don't comment. So we can kind of see, like, sometimes it will pop up, so-and-so is watching. For your privacy, we just won't say your name unless you comment a question or say hi to us.
Absolutely.
Feel free. We would love to see you who's out there, so say hi to us. Any thoughts or questions or comments you have along the way, please put them out there. We'll do our best to answer them as we go, recognizing sometimes they don't show up right as you type them, but we'll do our best. But so getting back to the summit, I attended in June with Hannah, who was working with Visionistas this summer as an intern. So that was really fun, and I was so excited to have her there too, in the spirit of empowering women, empowering younger women to pursue their dreams and visions and goals. And just the energy in that space was, you can't, I wish I could have bottled it up. Like, just me.
We may work on that for 2020.
Getting bottles and bottling it up. There was just such a lifting up of spirit, there were so many smiles, and there were vendors and people were there putting out their product, their joy, their passion as well, which was super exciting. And you had such awesome women presenters who came and spoke on a lot of different topics. And I left that space, even though it was raining, when the storms poured in when we were done. But it was like I could have stayed another 2 days, if not more. So someday you'll have to do that.
That option only, it's in the works.
A getaway for us to do that. That was really fun. So yeah, I loved it. So I'm super honored to be part of that for next year, for 2020. And we can also talk now about what we're doing this coming weekend.
Absolutely.
So at that place, at the space in the Empowerment Summit, you reached out and said, we got to connect and do something together. Yeah. And so, why don't you talk a little bit about that and what we're doing this coming weekend.
So Alma and Eva hosts Women in Sisterhood Power Brunches. Is what we've done throughout 2019, and we hosted one every quarter.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
so I'm like,
so
wow. And so this one is a version of that, but I started to think about, how do we prepare for 2020? And I didn't want to just do a vision board party. And I've been really big on the word manifestations, being intentional about the goals that we put out there, and being strategic. And so on Saturday, we are hosting our first manifestation board party. And we are asking women to come to that event with 3 to 5 specific goals that they want to work on for 2020. And we don't want it to be a beautiful collage that means nothing, right? So, I mean, some people have these beautiful collages that are vision boards, and they're just like cute to look at. I mean, I have one at home. Let's be clear. I have one at home. It has all these things on it. And I'm just like, what have I actually done on here? And I've had physical representation or symbolic representation of my family on there, but they haven't been very strategic or intentional about, I want to achieve X, and this is how I'm going to get there. So we'll welcome the women into the space. We're having it at the Art Establishment, which is in Fountain Hill. If you have not been to the Art Establishment, it is a beautiful space, woman-owned business, art studio, and we are welcoming, get this, because people were like private messaging me, 24 women.
Oh, Good, good. Because there was some that
Yeah.
reached out. So we had capped the event at 20.
Yeah.
Because it can be, well, we'd love to have hundreds, but it actually can be pretty scary.
Absolutely.
Sometimes intimidating to talk out loud about your vision,
Yeah.
to talk out loud about your goals. For women, especially, not just women, but I think sometimes we put ourselves on the bottom of our own list.
Absolutely.
And put other people in front of
Put
us.
them first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so talking out loud about, I want to do this, or I will accomplish this, or this is my vision, can be scary.
Yeah.
And so it will be nice to be able to have a space where it's not too many people.
It's very intimate.
An intimate setting, but I'm glad for that. And for those people who didn't get tickets this time, hopefully we'll do it something like
we'll
this
do
again.
Something, maybe virtual after the event. Maybe we can bring something to those who may have wanted to be there or may not be local and want to go through the experience, but we'll have worksheets for women to write down some of their specific goals and kind of be strategic about those areas, appealing to different learning styles and preferences in that way. And then have them have an opportunity also to work in smaller groups. And so we've asked that they've identified their goals already. And so we'll be ready to go, right? We won't be spending an hour cutting out things. So, hopefully they'll bring these things with them. And I'm really excited to work with Liz with this because she is a trained and licensed psychologist who can really take that conversation to the next level, where women may need that guidance and they may need those mindset shifts that we don't realize those barriers are in place. And so while my training is in, a little bit of counseling and advising, her gifts and talent of really taking women into that kind of deeper reflection piece is going to be really amazing. And we'll have to do our own manifestation party together, the two of us, because we'll be pouring out into the women in that space. And so we want to be able to give them the time that they need to create.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love the word strategic because it's important to give space and time and energy to figure out what it is you want, what it is you're working towards, and how do you go about accomplishing it, right? When we just kind of, not that you can't just have dreams that are a little bit diffuse, but if you want to accomplish something, it's helpful to have the steps and to put them into practice. And something that I've been working on with Visionistas is this process of going through the fluid process of really, it's called Dream, Design, Deliver. So really reflecting on what have I done in the past? What is some of that, like you said, what is some of the things that have gone well for me in the past? What are things that maybe didn't go so well, or things that I've experienced or overcome that contribute to the way that I interact with my world? And then putting that reflection into creation and designing of the plan, of the goals, and then aligning your actions, delivering your success by aligning your actions with your personality, your experiences, and the things that you have at your disposal, right? So the resources, the support system.
Absolutely.
Your gifts and talents. So we're super excited about that.
Yes.
Yeah. So we do have a hello. I'm going to read it.
Okay.
It's from Nikki Alums. Hey, Veronica girl, you look good. Question.
Hi.
What do you do while you wait for God to make your purpose clear for you? Good question.
Ooh. Who is this?
Nikki.
Nikki. Hello, my love. I love you so much. What do? You wait. You continue to wait. You continue to pray for direction. You be mindful of the energy that you keep, the people that you are around, and you continue to focus in on what God wants you to do first, right? We have the tendency when we get an idea or we want to move forward with something, we get excited and we just do it. Right? Hello, Alma and Eva, like stationary cards. We are like man, that is amazing. We think it's going to be great. But you kind of know when you're operating in obedience and what you're supposed to be doing, and when you're just kind of like going off on a whim. And for me, even when it was a stationary card line, was going off on a whim. It was like, I think that'll work, but I wasn't sure. So because I was waiting for confirmation, I decided to move ahead of that wait time and do what I wanted to do. And so sometimes we have to grow patient in listening and hearing and being able to discern those signs that we get about what is purposeful for us. I can't describe it other than like just a gut feeling of, oh my goodness, I'm so afraid. This doesn't feel right, but it feels right. I need to take the leap. I don't want to take the leap. I'm going to take the leap. Oh, okay. That wasn't as bad, right? But we have to be able to be patient and wait and not try to hurry up God's time, right? And you know, for me, I'm a very spiritual person, and so that is what I lean on, right? I have to lean on my faith, and I have to lean on my understanding and being able to patiently wait and hear how I'm supposed to move, when I'm supposed to move, with whom I'm supposed to move with, and continue to be prayerful for those things and stay centered and grounded in that, and don't let the opinions of other people kind of let you falter away from that very direction that you need. So I hope that was helpful for you, Nikki.
Yeah. I think patience is really helpful. I struggle with that sometimes.
We
like
all
I
do.
get an idea and I just want to get it off the ground before, you know, I just want it to happen. I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait.
Yep.
So wait, I love that. Yeah, sometimes it does. Timing can be so important with things.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Making sure that what you're working towards is appropriate for the time. Right. And sometimes recognizing that it will come, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but another.
Right. Not according to our time. Right. So we have to be positioned and know that when it's time for us to move, we have to move. And if it's time for us to wait, to be okay with waiting, and to not also look around to see what other people are doing, right? Like, we don't need to be comparing our journey to anybody else's journey, because our journey is specific to us. And when we get into the comparison game, we get off kilter, we get off track, we get off focus, and then we start doing meaningless work.
Right. Well, or it's meaningful for the wrong reason. It's for competition or it's somebody else's purpose.
Exactly.
Which I love that, because we can get into that trap of comparing ourselves with others.
Especially as women.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And part of it's, you know, comes from where we've been, or sometimes evolutionarily speaking, you know, you're competing with other people for survival, but not anymore, right? There's enough resources to go around. And that's what I loved so much. I keep coming back to the energy from the summit, your empowerment summit in the summer, was that there was not a competition feel to that space whatsoever. No. It was like, oh, what are you doing? This, hey, you should get in touch with her because she's doing this and you're doing this, and you two would be great together.
And you know what, Liz?
It was awesome.
Because I'm not here for that.
Right.
I do not tolerate it. No. No, absolutely not. There is no room in my spirit, in my space, for competition. And this is evidence of that, right? Like, we do similar work.
Absolutely.
Visionistas by Design, Alma and Eva, we do similar work. And what are we doing on Saturday? We are we're creating a space for women to manifest their dreams. I'm not competing with my sister here. I have no reason to. And for those women who are still in the space of competition, I'm gonna pray for you, because that is not something that is productive, right? It breeds spirit of envy, and I'm not here for it. And so a lot of people that know me know that I am all about making sure that the next woman that I know is able to get herself out there. I am so serious about gassing my girls up. I'm gonna be like, what are you doing? Like, yes, we're gonna make sure that people know about you, because it's, when we collaborate, we're stronger together.
Yes. And I also think it's important to to recognize that envy on its own is not necessarily a bad thing. If we're using it towards, right, because it's like one of those base emotions that we all experience as human beings.
Mm-hmm.
Fear, shame, sadness, anger. We have it. We're human, and envy can serve a purpose.
Yeah.
If you're using it to empower yourself, challenge yourself, motivate yourself, and lift others up, kind of recognizing like, oh, I that looks great on her.
Absolutely.
That kind of spirit, that kind of goal pursuit.
Right.
And I want that energy. Mm-hmm. How do I get it? Connect with her.
Right. But that's not
rather
the envy
than
we're
shut
talking
her
about.
down. Right.
That's not the envy we're talking about. We applaud the envy of being able to use it for personal development. Right. But we're not in a space of envy, competition, jealousy, all of that. Yeah. And acting upon that. Yeah. In a negative space. Right. And I think just being able to talk about that's we have that sometimes is helpful, because if we put it away like, oh my God, I feel jealous, I don't know what to do with that, I'm going to shove that somewhere where nobody else sees it because I don't want to look like the green monster of jealousy, then it's not helpful either. But being able to say, wow, I would love to be able to know how I can pursue a strength that I see in others to help and to empower. Absolutely. Yeah. So just reading the comments. So tell us a little bit about your false evidence appearing real. Oh, sure. So let me just say that I did not make this up, but I do utilize it a lot. I believe that for me, I used to operate under fear a lot. It silenced me. It suppressed a lot of my goals and dreams that I wanted to work towards. I was just having a conversation with my niece about this I think last week, about like some childhood trauma that really did diminish my dreams of, being a singer, or like I love to sing. And I experienced some things that really kind of just trampled over that dream, and it presented to me in front of me a spirit of fear, and I was afraid. I doubted myself. That's where the self-esteem issues came to play. And so I didn't address those things. I didn't address the things that were haunting me. I didn't address the low self-esteem and the bullying that was happening. I didn't address, feelings of inadequacy until late in adulthood. And those things showed up in different ways in my life that I really didn't realize until after I was through it. And so when I thought about some of the things that really scared me the most, public speaking, one of them, I said, I cannot be crippled by this fear anymore. So how do I take a hold of it and take control of it for myself? Because I know that I'm capable, but this childhood trauma, this past trauma that I've been dealing with is not allowing for me to evolve from that space. Wow. 30 years ago. Yeah. Right? Like, or 25 years ago. I don't know. So how do I get through that? And so I started to think about, what is the personal development work that I need to do to get past this? And I was doing some PD work, and the phrase somebody gave me was false evidence appearing real. That's where you're operating. You're operating in false evidence appearing real. And I'm just like, oh, I didn't think about it in that way. So when we remember that fear is broken down into that acronym, false evidence appearing real, we no longer give it the power that it once had of being able to cripple us from action. Right. We take back our narrative and we create a narrative that will be powerful for ourselves. And so that is something that I base everything that Alma and Eva is doing under. So everything that we do is for the promotion of women to address the false evidence appearing real that they may have had in their lives that's preventing them from pursuing their passion and their purpose. And so for me, that's, along with my purpose work, it's something that's very powerful to see women be able to understand, acknowledge, and grow from. I had a client of mine that I was working on this kind of fear journey with her. And I mean, she evolved from this woman who was timid and unsure and afraid, and until this woman that was like, Veronica, I don't care anymore. I'm telling people, no, I am not happy in this work. I am leaving, and I am trusting that I will find the work that I'm supposed to be doing. And so it was wonderful to kind of see her take back that word and redefine it. And so I try not to use it a lot. I always break it down into false evidence appearing real. But sometimes women need to acknowledge that, right? So I have this mini workbook that I usually go through, and I tell women to, let's think back on what are those trigger points, right? Like, what are the things that have convinced you that you can no longer move from this space of fear, right? And so how do we take those moments, those occurrences, those experiences, how do we identify them very specifically, and then how do we reaffirm them into something that is more powerful and affirmative? So I gave myself as an example. I would never be able to be a public speaker, and I changed that affirmation to be, I will become a well sought after public speaker.
Oh, I love that.
Right, and so I'm still working through and working on it. Right, but I'm becoming more comfortable in identifying the fact that that idea, that false evidence appearing real idea, no longer holds me captive.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. That's when we think about what you talked about, could be childhood trauma or different experiences that we have all had throughout life. Sometimes the fear is protective and adaptive at those times in our lives, right? So in order to survive a situation that's traumatic or neglectful or troublesome, we develop those kind of adaptive strategies that throughout life, right? Yes, whether it's fleeing, fighting, freezing, very kind of base responses to danger, to stress, to fear. But over time, we recognize that those qualities that once were adaptive for survival, for protection, can become maladaptive, right? Can prevent connection, can prevent the things we truly want in life.
Absolutely.
So
and it did for me.
It
took a while to get through that journey.
Yeah. And I love that you are taking others through their journey with them. That's awesome.
It's a constant work in progress,
I'm
myself
look
included.
At other comments here. So Arena says, Veronica is amazing. There's never competition in her eyes, only collaboration.
Thank you.
And Emily says, women empowering women. Heck yeah.
Absolutely, Emily.
So I love hearing about your work, your passion, and also from just watching you on social media. You did not lose the greeting card-esque type of inspiration, right? You love, or I love watching your posts that are empowering and inspiring, and you share things that you see that make sense to you. Something you posted recently really resonated with me, especially in my work. It was a diagram of kind of pushing yourself to the limits of your comfort.
Oh yes.
Yes, I love that. So the inner circle was kind of like this comfort zone type of space where we're just chill.
It was fear zone, comfort zone. And the further that we push ourselves to do the things that we're afraid of, it's uncomfortable. When you're growing, you're growing when you are uncomfortable. Absolutely.
Right? And it's not fun. It's not fun to feel some of those feelings, the fears, the thoughts, those things, but
it's worth it.
It's worth it. Yeah, it's worth it.
Absolutely.
So, I also was curious for you, how do you find the formula for balancing? So you talk a lot about the importance that you the passion of being a mom,
Mm-hmm.
of being a partner, of being supportive to not just your own dreams, but the dreams of your family and your friends. And that can be really tiring.
It can be. I try to prioritize a lot of my time. I say no to a lot more things now. And really the gifts of it all is that I remove myself from it. When you're doing purpose work, when you're doing God's purpose work, it's not about what you're going to get from it, right? When you're obedient and being used, there's a supernatural just thing that happens with you being able to inspire and work and act, and you're attracting the things that you need to be attracting. So you're not overworking because you're doing purpose work. And so those things that you're supposed to be working on are attracting themselves to you. You are attracting yourself to people who need the work that you're doing. And so for me, it's less about balance, right? Because I think for me, and I'm going to say something pretty controversial. Some people may agree, some people may not. I think it's a myth.
Balance.
I think it's a myth. I think you prioritize what is important to you. You work around that if it does not fit within those priorities. And some people may call that balance. But I also get the idea of women are like, oh, you do so much. Oh, you have so much going on. How do you do it all? I do it all because I do the things that I want to do. And I stop doing the things that other people want me to do.
Oh, I love that.
Right? And so it becomes easier to manage and to operate. And are there busier times? Yes. When the Passion and Purpose and Action Summit is coming up and I'm planning for that, I have no balance. What? I'm like retired.
So you go at least go on vacation later and get
Go on
some
vacation
balance
later,
back.
right? After the event, I'm like with my girls, with my crew, making sure that my energy is right.
Yeah.
But there are times when we have when it sways, right? When you're just in sync. Right?
Yeah, I love that when you said energy, that resonates with me, because I think for me, when I think about how I try to feel balanced in myself and recognizing that some days you're like this and some days you're like this, and you want it to be as, kind of on average as good as it can be, is that recognizing what is energizing to you and what is like energy. I was thinking zapping is a good word for it, but not that like putting energy out isn't a bad thing. Obviously, the work that we do requires energy. It requires time. It requires passion, and it requires a lot of thought energy, physical energy, emotional, spiritual energy. But also, I've come to recognize things that I feel energized by, and make sure that I'm putting those in intentionally, strategically in my life. The people that I'm spending my time with, the conversations I'm having, the putting in time for leisure, things that are just fun,
that's important. That is
travel, and recognizing that sometimes that's a privilege, right, to be able to do those things. So it doesn't need to be a trip to the Bahamas, but it can be like a walk around and admiring the beauty of the fall leaves or summer. Yeah,
and just being present and mindful. Shonda Morales, I'm not sure if you know her. She's another therapist in the area. She talks a lot about mindfulness, especially mindfulness for mamas. So if you're a mother and you need that specific resource, she is very well versed in that. And I think that that's helpful, right? When you're mindful of your space, your energy, your time, when you are strategic and prioritize things effectively. And then when you're kind of like in sync, right? Like you make sure those things are connected to each other, and that's how we thrive, right? And it takes tweaks, right? And shifts, and everything is not going to be perfect all the time, and realizing that life brings challenges, but it's about how you address them and how your mindset is with overcoming them that makes the most of it.
So to kind of come towards the end, share with us, if you will, a little bit of vision that you have for yourself.
Oh, that's fun. In what regard?
Any regard. Like,
Okay.
First of all, I love the question, in what regard? Because, right, we recognize there's so many different pockets of our lives that take energy to pursue goals and dreams and visions. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm going to let you go in any direction you want to go.
I'm going to do self, family, and business. So I'll start with family. I envision us to be impactful contributors to the community. I envision us being very intentional about our own personal growth and development and how we continue to serve others through that. And so that's truly connected to my purpose work, because I feel like our gifts are meant to be in alignment with someone else's destiny and purpose. And so for family, that's where I would say I vision myself to be an amazing wife to my partner, an amazing mother to my daughter, with the help of God and my influential friends and family who serve as mentors to me in that regard.
The village.
The village, my village. Yes, it takes a village. Personally, my vision is for me to overcome every single false evidence appearing real idea that I've convinced myself of. 2020 is the year of manifestation for me. And so this is living proof that I am ready to take on being here on camera and really just sharing what my purpose work is just an example of what that work looks like. And it's an example of what's possible. Believing that you do have the power to rewrite your narrative. I'm a living example of that. And I'm ready to help whichever woman along my path that comes into my circle or that I am purposed to go reach out to have that for herself as well. Business, vision, so many things. I don't want to give too much away.
Get us excited.
Yes, so a lot more things that are going to be coming from Alma and Eva in regards to women empowerment and really helping women overcome false evidence appearing real. You mentioned having more than a day.
Mm-hmm.
It's on the way. Some very intentional work of the group that I also host, Passion, Purpose, Persist. And so there's going to be a mastermind experience for that, for women who are very serious about where they want to take their passion and their purpose, and how do I strategize to make sure that I have what I need to persist through pain, the barriers, and all the obstacles that may come in the way of that. So great, just like I pray for this, right? And I'm just like ready to operationalize it, but the timing has to be right. And so we're waiting for the right timing of when to provide this gift to women. The Lehigh Valley is our starting point, right? But I envision us being able to have a wider reach. And right now I'm kind of being I'm prayerful about what that reach is, where it is, what it means. But that's the next level.
Love it. And I thank you all for watching tonight. I'm going to just check if we have any more comments or questions. Okay. Oh, we do, from Heather. What advice do you give as a first small step out of the dark when you realize you are ready?
Ooh, Heather. Let me see. I'm going to read your question again. The first step that I would say is to believe, right? So you've realized that you're ready, and you've gone through a process of stepping out of the dark. You've gone through the process of what the darkness looked like. And so now you have to really hone in on your belief and your mindset that you're enough, you're worthy, you are able to accomplish what it is that you need to accomplish, and start there. Don't get any bigger than that. Work on that belief part, work on that vision part, and you will see the things start to come together.
I love that. And Heather, hi, I can't wait to hear more about this vision.
Yeah.
Big vision.
Go after it, Heather.
Yes, go get it. And just something that I found super empowering, another piece of my just being around you, was when we met for lunch and you were telling me the story about your daughter on the playground. Be brave.
Oh, yes.
And the message was be brave. And would you feel comfortable sharing that?
Sure.
Because
Yeah.
I think when, you know, it touches on Heather's question, it touches on our mission, our purpose, and what we hope to put out there into the universe.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was at the park with my daughter one day, and those of you who are watching, you may know Hunter. She's very brave, so very persistent. But we were at the park, and there was this bridge in the kind of play area where the swings and the slides are, and it was a wobbly bridge. And we have been coaching her all week about, you know, Hunter, just try it. Give it a try. If you don't like it, that's okay, but I need you to be brave. And so she went the first time and she says, Mommy, can you please hold my hand? And I said, okay, Hunter, I'm going to hold your hand and we're going to walk across. But the next time we're going to go again. If you want to go again, I need you to be brave and I need you to try, okay? So she went down the slide. She goes back up to the area where the steps are and she gets to where the bridge is. And she's looking at the bridge and she goes, be brave, be brave.
Love that.
Be brave. And she kept saying it as she walked across the bridge by herself. Every single step of the way, she's be brave, be brave. And she got to the end and she goes, yay, Mommy, I was brave. And I said, you were. Hunter, I am so proud of you. And in that moment, I looked at her and I said, oh my goodness, like that took so much courage. And she reminds me of, you know, my little fearless self, what my mother would tell me about when I was younger. And in that moment, I said, if she can take that much courage and energy and go across that bridge where she felt so unsafe, but she believed that she could do it because she coached herself and she said, be brave. Veronica, get it together. Get it together. But sometimes we have to take a pause and learn from our children and our little ones because they teach us so much. So I hope that was helpful.
I love that. Yeah. So take that message here tonight is to be brave.
Be brave.
Just to say good night before we do, I just want, if you can tell all of our people watching or who will watch later where they can find you.
Yes. You can find me on all social media platforms. Well, not all of them. I really don't do the Twitter thing, but you can find Alma and Eva on Facebook and Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. You can also find my business page, Veronica H. Moore, Passion Plus Purpose Entrepreneur. If you're looking to see some personal side of what we do in my life, I am Veronica Moore on Instagram. And I'm also on LinkedIn as well. So if you all are on LinkedIn, you can look for me, Veronica Moore.
Okay. I think that is it for our comments and questions. Thank you all for watching.
Yes, thank you.
Right. You can watch this here and then it will be posted on the visionistasbydesign.com webpage in the future. Okay.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
I love you.
Good night.
Bye.